Hey there, it's game time with your host, PJ Medina. So, today we are reviewing this game, West of Loathing. Now, it's kind of an odd duck. It's mostly relying on stick figures to convey a story, but with its campy sense of humor and simplistic tongue-in-cheek aesthetic, it sets it apart from your usual game. In terms of gameplay, it has a good way of simplifying complex interactions. It's sort of like Dungeons and Dragons. Different situations will call upon certain skill sets that your character may or may not have acquired along the way. There are 3 different character classes you can choose from: the Fighter, the Ranger, and the Mystic. In battle, you spend your turns using up action points. You can spend as many action points as you'd like, but you don't get any more unless you take an item that refills your AP. But battles are pretty much a battle of attrition, so you're best going all out. The menu system is pretty simplistic, but you get quite an assortment of items and apparel. I appreciate the amount of different items they have in this game. Weapons, armor, artifacts, potions, drinks, food, books. They have just about anything you can find in Skyrim, but I like how food and drink accrue perks, and then based on how big your stomach is, you can take on 3 or 4 perks. You can level up your stomach so you can carry more along the way. I would only say that it got a little difficult managing everything after a while. It appears just in a straight list, and it does keep track of categories over on the right there as I'm scrolling down, but I kind of would like a bigger feeling of separateness between the different categories so it doesn't all run together. As for art style, well, this game definitely stands out by having as little as possible. However, that's its charm. The monochromatic hues of the game lended itself to the arid and sparse environment. I didn't find the lack of color off-putting, although you have to be comfortable with reading. There's a lot of reading that goes on in this game. And it's usually worth the trouble. They take time to make the language colorful, and it's bound to make you laugh. The story, well, there wasn't too strong of an overarching story that kept me glued to my seat, but the subquests were rich with unique flavor texts. Even going in between towns, there was always something to encounter with funny circumstantial differences. I don't know if they actually managed to program each of these stories or if they have a computer just randomly generating things, but there are plenty and I'm impressed. All in all, this was a refreshing take on what you could expect from a game. It reminds me of older ones that didn't have the graphics to fall on. Instead, it had to make up for itself with great writing and heart. This is a game that definitely owns its quirkiness. I'd say I'd give this game a 7.9. It had a fleshed out world with quirky characters, great side stories, plethora of items and gear, but I'd score it higher if it wasn't for the end. It kind of dropped the ball there. I can't remember the last time I beat a game without realizing. It was kind of anticlimactic, but it's about the journey, right? Anyway, that's my 5 cents for today. Until next time, game on.